All right, guys, hope all is well. I'm just going to do a video about last week or the week that's just gone. Um, took a couple losses last week, which is fine. Doesn't matter. It's part of the game. But I'm going to go over those and some trades for potentially this coming week. So, dollar, we have just literally been booning. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think we're going to come and take out this weekly high. And I think we could probably have a bit more of a rise. I mean, in all fairness, we did come to that last point that I was saying about before. And you can see we are actually kind of pushing away now. If we do start to invalidate potential zones, for me, I really want to see a break above this because that's going to give me kind of the confirmation lower because so far this is our low, this is our high. Nothing has broken this. This is kind of like intermediate structure for me. This is going to be a massive like confluence. That price is probably going to come up into here, but I do definitely want to see a break and then that pullback and retest. So whether that could be for God knows how long, but I do think we could potentially maybe come up to this zone before maybe coming then back down, or unless we just want to continue high and then start targeting these highs, potentially could see just this high get run and then come down. But we are going to wait and see what happens. But so far, that's just off the weekly. We get onto the day now. You can see our EMAs across in again, which is nice to see. I always say I don't really trade them too much, but I do have them looking. I do have them to look out. Where my 50 though one is lining up pretty nicely. Let me just hide. Is hiding up quite nicely. Hiding up quite nicely. It is lining up quite nicely with this 4 hourly. We do have a lower zone down here, which has previously mitigated, and we haven't had a mitigation this zone yet. So if is broken, then could see some high time frame like pullback maybe into these zones. But first of all, I am going to just wait and see what we get in and around this 4 hourly zone. That's going to be a major point for me. So daily, you can see if price does want to have like a run and then a pullback, and then we actually continue high. This means that this EMA can potentially just ride along with it. So I'm going to be waiting for potential further high time frame price action, potentially first targets until 13250. Let's go down 4 hour, nothing really too much. We go into a 1 hour. Now we do have this Asian high, which I'm pretty expecting to get taken because I've noticed a lot of the time Asian highs get taken. If you map out any Asian high, where are we? 1 a.m. that got taken. Where are we? 12 a.m. that got taken. What's this? 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then it's just potentially going to have to be again. So obviously this isn't gonna happen specifically. I do want to see potential price come down into here, and I can imagine we have a lot of orders in here which kind of give us this boost in price. But for the time being, I'm not gonna be looking for the shorts unless they're actually really given, because so far we are actually just keeping this bullish momentum, so price could just continue with this bullish trend. We are at kind of like a significant point, I would say, kind of just within this region, just because we do have this high point. And I do want to see if we're going to like start invalidating that, because this was kind of that we shifted above the high, which is that sell to buy. So now we could just continue through. So it's going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But that's dollar, not the cleanest in my opinion at the moment. But again, I feel like this coming week we are going to have a bit more of a clear bias of what does potentially want to happen in the future. Gold again is just been dying. I want to see price potentially come into, first of all, this weekly imbalance, so 1870, and this 3 day zone, 18, where are we, 1858, 1860 potentially could see a nice rollover and then continuation if we go on dollar. If we go on a 3 day, is there anything that lines up? Invert? No, not really. So I do want to see potentially further pricing down on gold and then that continuation higher. Equally, we could come down. We could come down a lot. We do still have liquidity in these lows in here. We do still have this imbalance down here. Obviously, this is just a massive stretch. I do definitely want to see where and if price is going to come down into here. Now, I don't expect this to retrace too much because I feel like sometimes gold, if it's going to go, it just goes. You can see it just like continues. Even when you can see when we've broken highs, we've kind of just like run. We didn't really have that much of a pullback until now, obviously. So this is going to be my first point that I'm going to be looking for. If we do get any sort of pullbacks, I do want to see if I can get in short. So far, everything pretty much along here has all been mitigated. Broken structures and then literally just mitigating like the zones where it's been broken from, which is really, really nice to see. Again, in here, break a structure. We're looking for a pullback into the zone that caused that. This was here. You can see we have this zone. This zone also lines up with this imbalance. We just closed it off and closed some of this big order out. This big order then mitigated out of this zone and then so forth and so forth. So on the 30-minute, we do have a nice zone, which I can see again. I can just show you this mitigations quick. That mitigate this, that mitigate that, that mitigate that, that mitigate that. This, I'll break a structure again, break a structure, look for the zone that caused that again. This is our break. What do we have? Asian low, structure broken. I'm just looking for a zone that caused that breaker structure. You can see sell to buy or buy to sell, really. Sorry. We go into our, use our fib. And you can see our fib levels are lining up with where my POI is and potential final targets as well. What is kind of giving me a bit more conviction about the zone, right in the 50% of this zone, scale it down half the time frame. We do have this 15-minute zone as well, which could potentially give some nice RR if it's taken, potentially a 1 to 10. That's nice. Normally it's going to be a 1 to 5. So it could potentially have a quarter risk and another quarter risk. It all depends on you and your trading. What I do maybe want to see though going into next week is we have this pull up and then we actually just start heading back down and potentially just die off for the rest of the week again. That's what happened last week. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But definitely bearish, broken structures. This is our zone. This is more of an even tinier confluence because we have this imbalance in here, which is telling me that this has not been filled, which is meaning that has not been filled either. So definitely lower prices on gold. I do, like I said, want to see potential pullbacks into potentially even we could get that test of 19 flat. Where are you? Let's go there. So 1900 could get a nice pullback into major whole number and then potential continue lower ration. So that's gold, potential nice setups on here. Let's just wait and see how the market opens next week. AUD/USD, nothing in my opinion. I was waiting for price to come into here and we failed. Then I was waiting for price to come into here. I thought we could have a run and we failed. So probably just going to be looking for bearish movements because nothing else has happened. What did give me a bit more conviction I did want to see on the daily time frame is we did mitigate out this daily zone. I remember on previous videos I said we could get this low get taken, and then because this was technically still a mitigated zone, but we could equally still run deeper into this zone just because we could have more of a deeper mitigation, which does, I find, usually sometimes happen on high time frames. So even potential shorts just kind of back going down into these zones. And then we could actually see that run. So we could just like keep going bearish for the time being, then actually have that run and then just continue. So what I am seeing for the time being though is which is not looking too nice, is we have some flat lows. And then this is now our liquidity wick, because there would have been so many people probably buying off this double bottom, whatever. Stop losses below this low. And then where are we? And then he might get a bit of a pull up, and then it will just die off. So AU, I'm gonna just sit and wait just for a bit more confirmation, just to see what happens. If I was looking for pullbacks, it would have definitely been off of one of those zones. Maybe could some seesaw reactions from here. Don't like this kind of equal highs in this wick here. So again, I do want to see a bit more confirmation on that. Euro, pound, actually took two losses on this week. Took a loss of here, and then took a loss of here as well. Did want to see some further price action. We did have a really fucking nice opportunity off here. That would have just been so clean. I did actually eye up that level for a while, and we didn't. I thought kind of around here we were going to get it, but we didn't. So I thought, obviously, with breaking structure, I thought we were going to come and run and take out these highs, which is definitely could have been on the cards. But understanding that we did have potential targets down here, which price could have taken out. So again, it's fine. Losses do happen, is what it is. I think most of my trades this week have been losses, but again, it's fine. So I took a loss here, and now potentially just waiting to see if we are actually going to get some further pricing. I potentially could see us running down and just taking out these lows, maybe digging deeper a little bit into this weekly zone, because we actually came into the high of this one, but we didn't come into the actual imbalance. And for me, I quite like to see that. So very much could well see a bit more of a run again, a little bit deeper, like all of the other pairs so far, a run a bit deeper into our zone, and then maybe see that pull up. So let's wait and see what happens with this one. CAD JPY took a loss of this zone. This was last week though, I'm pretty sure. Took a lot away 10th of sorry, yeah. So this was the beginning of the week, last week. Took a loss off here. We ran these highs, that's fine. After took a loss, didn't really do that much. After that, I kind of just left it for a bit to see what happens. I am still looking for my lower time frame zones to get met, or high time frame zones technically. We could definitely see a big sell to buy, take out these lows, and then actually start taking out these highs and these highs. You can see on CADs or most pairs, we create liquidity and then we run it, create liquidity, then we run it, create liquidity, and then hopefully rerun it. That is what I'm going to be looking for. Again, I got some alerts set, so if anything exciting does happen, then cool. If not, then it is what it is. Pound CAD. Now, I took a loss on this one and I took a win off this one as well. So I had two zones that I was looking for. Let's just go back. Hold on. Where are we? Okay, cool. So we'd broken structures, we'd raided our lows, we raided lows, and then we broke structures and validating this zone. So looking for a pullback, fine continuations. That's what we wanted to see. So I was initially looking for the 7,000 to get met, that nice psychological level to get met, and then actually have the continuations, which is fine. So this kind of was valid for me. Just missed this zone, but I did actually close out my trade almost just before I actually started to launch, because of actual situations like this. If I'm actually at my computer and I can see it, if I'm super close to my target and price is kind of like not really doing too much, 8 times out of 10, I'm just going to close it because of pure situations like this. If you're just waiting for literally like that last few couple pips, like however much that could potentially be, but I mean, let's really realistically, I probably took it out about here. So 14 pips. Okay, cool. 14 pips. That's a decent amount to be fair, but I was already up 75. So the just those tiny little bits for me, like I don't really care about. And if it means potentially taking losing profits, then like that's your fault. Equally, if I'm not actually behind my computer, then I do just let it run, just because I'm not about, but just because I was in this situation and I was. So we had came from that zone, or we had just tested the high of this zone, and then we actually started to have this burst through. Now, I was still also looking for shorts, maybe off of this zone, because we ran this liquidity and we tested this wick up here. Fine, amazing breaker structure. We pull back into this zone within here, but there was a lot of mitigations in here. And I was first looking for this 15-minute wick, which I did say before. So that was the first entry, really, really nice, just came down. But that was that sell to buy movement. So closed out this trade in profit, nice. Came back up, and then my second one hit because I had this zone and this zone, and we could have just wicked that high, and then we came back down. So still had a position in here. We came up, came kind of close, and then obviously we kind of just burst through it. But I was still maybe looking to see if we were gonna take out this low and have another sell to buy. So what we could have seen is either a run on this liquidity and a test of this zone, and then we continue higher, or we could have mitigated, run a little bit deeper, taken at this low, and then pushed higher into that 7,000. So I didn't mind leaving this potential one in, just because either way I would have wanted to see this zone or a little bit lower to get mitigated out of. Because yes, we shifted above this high, so again should have been looking for that sell to buy. And then we didn't get that. That's fine. It just blew and continued higher, and then we just ran. So that was CAD. That was pound CAD. Haven't really looked too much of it after that. It's kind of just continued, which is fine. It was expected. Pound Swiss as well. Took a loss on pound Swiss off of this zone, kind of off the back of euro pound as well. This again was a valid zone. We had mitigation, mitigation, mitigation. This is that final move. This is our confirmation shift below. From here, we pulled up, but this would have been for me maybe the sign that it maybe could have been invalid. We did actually run this low, but just because we have a run on liquidity doesn't mean that's a trend, a change in direction. So price came up and we created equal lows. So we came down and then we kind of just trickled all the way back up here. We played about, and then Friday, I closed it when it was like here. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to hold it over the weekend. And later on in the evening, you can see it actually would have then taken me out anyway because my stop loss was literally just above here. So saved myself a worse loss than it could have been. Usually, I never take out my trades. I just sit and wait and leave them. But if I was going to be honest, I was just getting a bit impatient with this, and I wasn't really that confident in it, so I just closed it. I was looking for this zone not to actually have some big, massive short run, but I could have or have wanted maybe to have seen a mitigation, an actual run deeper, maybe something into this wick more, and then the continuation. So my target was actually only to here anyway. So I only wanted to see kind of like this move and then a potential continuation higher, or once it hit my target, it could do whatever it wanted to. But again, it fine, it didn't. We just continued higher, and then that was that. Silver. Over also going into next week, I'm not really too sure about this one. The only really setups for me so far is gold. All the other pairs that I've just broken down from losses,
I don't see anything personally on them. Okay, so silver again, kind of like gold. I do want to see if we can maybe come into this weekly zone 21.3. Where are we? I want to see if we can have that sell to buy, maybe, or if we want to come take out this low and maybe come dig deeper into here a little bit more. But definitely for me, either potential psych level 21 could definitely be on the cards as well. For the here and now, though, we could see a couple of scenarios. From a while back, when I was looking for a potential zone up into here, I was looking to see if, when we broke the structure, if we were going to have a pullback. We didn't so far, and that's fine. But what we could see now is potentially a buy to sell on the 12 hourly. We have that EMA kind of lining up. So we could have that buy to sell movement and then actually start taking out these lows. Equally, if we don't, I was looking for a 15-minute zone in here, if I'm going to be honest, and after looking at it now, I'm not really that convinced. We do have this 15-minute zone, so we could, in all reality, have that buy to sell, mitigating at that 15-minute zone and kind of mitigating this whole order. I do want to see if we can maybe take out this Asian low or maybe just fill down deeper. I don't maybe think this pullback is on the cards, but I do definitely want to see potential pullback into this zone and then to see if we kind of get that sell off lower. Failing that, we could maybe come run a little bit higher up and just take out this wick and then go lower. But it's really going to wait and see and what happens. So this is silver. I'm just looking for kind of shorts and bearish movements. I do definitely want to see this Asian low and this wick get taken out. If we do fail and actually break fully above this point, then hopefully I would have liked to have seen a sell to buy on the a run on the sell liquidity, and then we potentially see if we break structures. But if we do, obviously, again, it's just going to be looking for a zone to trade from and then continue higher. At least first targets into here, at least. So that's silver. Bitcoin took another loss, which is fine. This week has just been one of those weeks. It is what it is. I did actually call this out from last week, to be fair. Obviously, not the full short movement, but what would have probably been the smarter decision to do is I had a sell in here, came down, hit my target, it's daily open, and I was looking for a buy up here because I wanted to see if price was going to go long. I thought what I was expecting is a buy to sell, run on all the liquidity, close out this imbalance, and then we die into 25. So if you watch my previous videos, I did actually say about this move happening. Obviously, we didn't get that and just died off. Again, that's fine. Things don't always work out in our favor, which is a part of the game. So far, though, we definitely could kind of dig deeper. Okay, so we've closed off this daily imbalance. If maybe going into next week, we do start pushing a little bit higher, that's going to be a bit intriguing to see. I do definitely want to see if we can at least close some of this imbalance. Failing that, though, we could actually just head down a little bit lower. If I am going to do anything, I really want to be seeing like a full breaker structure, and then we kind of look for the pullbacks, and then we can maybe take this high. If not, then definitely could see a massive short back down into 22. Honestly, at least it's 22. Even potentially, if we just remove drawing a sec, even going into next week, if we even have some pullbacks into just our weekly zone. Weekly is going to be a nice fresh week. So could maybe even see some lower time frame buys into 28.6 or 28.500. I would say 28.500. that could be a nice psychological level to be looking out for. So that is all I have for the time being. Hopefully, this next coming week is a bit more profitable. Last week was just one of those weeks, but it's fine. Losses are a part of the game, and as long as you can keep your psychology and you're following your plan and you stay disciplined, it really just is a numbers game. And sometimes it happens. And the more losses you take, if you do go in a slump like this, it's fine because you know that there is just that next juicy one to save you coming around the corner. So if you guys got any questions about any of these, please let me know. Feel free to fire away and I will help everyone as much as I can. All right, guys. Bye.